telling Europe, if you want low employment, do it our way. Here's our political correspondent, Tom Bradby.
The Tories were fighting two battles today, one to win the by-election in Wirral South, another to limit the damage of losing it. So in the constituency, Mr Dorrell was confident.
Well, we're fighting the by-election to win, and I'm confident that our candidate will be elected as the Member of Parliament in this House of Commons for this constituency.
But back in London, Mr Heseltine was beginning a damage limitation exercise.
There are a lot of people around who see by-election as an opportunity to kick the government, and we would expect to see that.
Those two comments may not really be contradictory. Mr Dorrell may be confident. Mr Heseltine may have been simply stating the obvious. But it left a confused message, and Mr Prescott said he thought it was absurd.
You know, I don't know of any election when we've seen the Deputy Prime Minister actually acknowledge right at the beginning, before it's even announced in the House of Commons, that he's throwing the towel in, that they don't think they could win.
Some Tories are clearly worried about the possibility of a really heavy morale-sapping defeat in the Wirral, and argue it might be better to cancel the by-election altogether and let the party take its chances in an early general election. Central Office sources said tonight their private polling from the Wirral showed that many people were planning to vote against them in this by-election, but then for them at the general election. And it's on that basis they believe they can discount any defeat and plough on until May the 1st. The Liberal Democrats say the Tories will lose whenever they call it.
This close to a general election, the Conservative Party ought to be able to hold a seat like Wirral, traditionally very Conservative, yet I believe that they won't. And that is an indication of what will happen in the general election, whether John Major calls it early or late.
The Tories were on the attack elsewhere today too, over Europe. Mr Heseltine launching a poster campaign claiming Labour would damage British business. All of which makes a little difficult meetings like this one with Mr Juppé, the French Prime Minister. He and Mr Major didn't find much common ground on the single currency.
I wish that either in the first wave or in the second wave, Great Britain would join us.
I think you know very well our position on a single currency. We're not absolutely certain that it will be ready for 1999, and there is a difference of view between our European partners and us upon that.
Mr Major will go further tomorrow in a speech in Brussels, one of his most trenchant on Europe. Over-regulation doesn't work, he'll argue, and as a result, neither do millions of Europeans. He's clearly trying to distance himself still further from Labour's policy on Europe, preparing for the election. Tom Bradby, News at 10, Westminster.
Police fought running back